Hello, my most amazing artists, and welcome back to art class. This week, I am going to lead you step by step in making a seasonal scarecrow in a cornfield. It's going to look a little something like this. So I'm going to show you the step-by-step drawing. What you're going to need is a piece of paper to draw on, pencil to draw with, a black marker, Sharpie, black crayon for outlining when you're all done, and either crayons, colored pencils, markers, whatever you have to color with. Also, I am going to show you a little trick where if you do have watercolor paints at home, you can take those out as well, because I will show you how you can use those to make your flannel shirt, or you can also paint your sky. So if you've got some paints handy, you can take those out too. All right, let's get started. To start drawing my scarecrow, I'm going to start with my paper, and I'm actually going to draw the head upside down, and then I'm going to flip my paper to keep drawing. And make sure you're holding your paper vertically, not horizontally. If you hold it horizontally, you will not have enough room for your whole scarecrow. So what I'm going to do, I have a piece of tape here to hold my paper, but before I do that, I'm going to take my marker. Remember, I'm using markers so you can see what I'm doing, but I would recommend working with a pencil. Pencil is always best in case you need to erase any mistakes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand that I'm not holding my marker with and use my 4 fingers to help me make my head. Now I'm going to hold my paper at a little bit of a tilt just to make it easier for me to draw. But I'm going to take my 4 fingers and I'm going to hold it no higher than halfway up the paper. And I'm going to make a rainbow shape that starts at the bottom of my fingers and goes up and around like that. So if I hold my paper straight, it's kind of a rainbow shape that's a little past halfway, but that's okay. And then that way when I flip my paper, I have more than enough room up here for a hat, and I have room down here for the rest of my scarecrow's body. So now I'm going to keep going. I'm going to draw for the hat. I'm going to draw a line that goes across the top and hangs off the ends a little bit. Then to make the brim of this hat, because this is one of those like floppy straw hats, we are going to draw a line that goes under and around this line that we just drew. So that's the brim of our straw hat. Now for the top of the hat, 2 lines that kind of angle in, make them angle in a little bit when you draw them. And you have 2 options for the hat. You can either draw a line that goes completely straight across, or if you want to make it look a little bit floppier, you can draw a line that comes halfway and then kind of just drops a little bit. And then connect that to the other side. And it gives it kind of that collapsed floppy look. I'm also going to add a patch to my hat, a little square patch with some stitches. And I want to show the texture of my hat. Now I can't actually feel the paper and feel how rough a straw hat would feel, but if I use some crisscross lines, this is called hatching, on part of my hat, it can kind of show the texture of a hat and how it would be woven together with straw. All right, now I'm going to wait for my face for a second. We're going to add the body first. Now what we're actually going to do first with the body is we're going to make, he's wearing like a collared flannel shirt because we're going to use some color patterns to make flannel. So at the very bottom of the head, I want you to draw an upside down letter V. It's very silly looking. It kind of makes your scarecrow look like a giant head on 2 little legs, but it won't look like that for long. Then you're going to draw the shoulders of your scarecrow. And then to make the collar of the shirt, you can simply bring those lines up to the shoulder. We also want to add 2 lines near the bottom so that if you're looking at my paper, you can see here's the collar of his shirt, here's his arms, and here's his body. And now I can start adding little details in to bring my scarecrow picture together. So I'm going to add some buttons. I'm going to give my scarecrow some square buttons, but you could make them round, you can make them triangles, you can make them heart-shaped buttons. I made them a little big so I can really only fit 2. Maybe I have one more kind of poking out from the bottom there. For the face, you can also do any shape eyes, any shape nose, And for the mouth, you can do an open mouth if you want, but I want you to try to keep the mouth closed. It can either be just a simple smile, or I'm going to put a squiggly smile on my scarecrow. So let me add those things. All right, and there's a lot of the details on my scarecrow. You can see I added a few more patches to the shirt. The smile, this is a squiggly smile, but if you just want to do the two cheeks and just a regular smile and then add the stitches onto it, that's fine too. I made circle eyes, you can make them triangles, squares, whatever works. And now my next step would be to add some color. So I finished coloring most of my scarecrow except for the flannel shirt and the cornfield background because I want to show you how to do those. I'm going to show you how to do the cornfield first. I'm using crayons for this because I'm also going to be using some watercolor paints to complete my scarecrow. If you do not have watercolor paints, it's fine. You can do this whole thing with colored pencil or the whole thing with crayon. If you want to add a little marker, you could, but I am going to show you how you can do a pretty cool resist effect with the crayons and the watercolor paints. So what I'm going to do for my cornfield, I am using a light green, a yellow green, regular green, and a yellow. You're not going to be using a ton of yellow, but there's going to be a few little peekaboo corn stalks that we're going to see. So between the green and the light green, I'm going to create a bunch of corn stalks. And I'm also going to color the little corn husks. You know, now that I'm actually coloring this, I just realized you're not going to need the yellow, so forget the yellow. But, so just green. And you're going to do these in dark green and light green. If you only have one type of green, then you'll just do one type of green. No big deal. If you've got like a dark green marker and a light green crayon, you could also mix and match those as well. And then between the two green colors, you can see I just kind of scribble in behind them. So you want to make a couple stalks that noticeably have the corn on them, and then you can just fill in the rest of the background with just some up and down vertical lines to fill in the rest of your cornfield. For the sky, you're just going to do just a plain blue sky. I would do either a light blue if you want it to be daytime, or if you're looking for more of a cornfield at night kind of look, you can use a regular blue or a darker blue. So that's totally up to you. The rest of the sky will simply be blue. And you can do that in crayon colored pencil, or after I show you how to do the flannel shirt, you could also paint your sky. That's completely optional too. If you have watercolor paints, feel free to paint your sky. Now for the flannel shirt, you are going to choose 4 random colors. I would recommend 2 warm and 2 cool. So I have an orange, a red, blue violet, and indigo. So these are going to be the colors for my stripes. And then I've decided that the color of my shirt, the background color, is going to be yellow. So you want to choose 4 colors and 1 color that's going to be your background color that these will pop out against. Yellow is a nice light color, so I know that all of these colors will pop out and look really nice. You can make your shirt whatever color you want. However, I would not do a green background shirt. You could do green stripes, but I wouldn't do a green background shirt just because your scarecrow is right next to a green cornfield. It's going to be a little too much green, but any other color should work. I'm going to take my colors, and it's going to be horizontal stripes. Remember, horizontal goes side to side, and some vertical stripes. Vertical goes up and down. So I am going to draw some orange stripes that go across. I'm going to hop over wherever something is in my way, and I'm going to make sure that I space them out. Now when I get to the arms, whenever you wear a flannel shirt, the stripes never line up. They're always a little bit different. So I'm actually going to jump here. I'm going to go up a little bit, make my orange stripe go across here, and then go back down so that these 2 stripes line up. I'm going to do the same thing with my other warm color, with my red. And then I'm going to take my cool colors And with my verticals, I'm not going to space these in the middle. I'm actually going to throw in crayons. Put these two next to each other. And it's that simple. So you're just creating a pattern with the vertical and the horizontal lines. And then the rest of it, you're going to fill in with the paint. So I'm going to wet my paintbrush here, wipe off the extra water, take some of this yellow paint I've got. And because I used crayon on my shirt, the cool part about this is that the watercolor paint, and this is why you have to use watercolor paint, this won't work with regular paint. Because the watercolor paint is water-based and the crayon has wax in it, the watercolor paint should go easily right over the colors that you just drew down. So you don't have to go inside each little box because that's going to take a lot of time to do. You can literally just add some water and go right across everything that you just drew. Fill that in. Now the only thing about making the shirt yellow that I'm keeping in mind is that I am losing a little bit of the hay that I drew here. But that's okay. I can even touch part of my patch and it just rolls right off of it. You barely even see it. So you can choose whatever background color you would like. And there you go, there's my completed scarecrow. I decided since I had the watercolor paints out, I would just paint my sky, but again, if you do not have watercolor paint, you can just color with your crayons or your colored pencils. Same thing with your shirt. But if you do have watercolor paint, this might be something cool that you want to try out, doing a watercolor crayon resist. One other thing that I do realize I forgot to mention is when you're coloring your scarecrow, you do want to use a yellow if you want to make the hay stand out here and along the collar. You want to make sure that you color that first before you color the rest of it. That way the hay stands out against everything that you've done. But here's my completed scarecrow. So have fun. Remember, you can use whatever colors, whatever shapes. You have a lot of creative freedom with this project. So follow along. And it also can't hurt to outline it with a Sharpie or with the black crayon when you're done so it looks nice and complete. All right, enjoy. Bye. See you soon.